Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's your boy, and today I decided to show my class setups. As in my prior videos, I've never shown my class setups, so I feel like this would be the perfect opportunity to showcase them. So, first, if we go to weapons and edit loadout, the first loadout, of course, is the AUG FFAR, or FAMAS, FMAS, whatever you want to call it. This is the most broken loadout by far, and it needs to be nerfed. Although the Reloaded update actually nerfed it, it wasn't enough, and it wasn't as significant. So, keep abusing it until they nerf it. So, for the AUG, you definitely want to use the Agency Silencer, which gives all those pros with little cons, the Strike Team Barrel for that fiery aim locking movement speed, as well as that hidden bullet velocity, Axial Arms 3 as your optic. If you want to go with the 2x, you can, but I prefer the 3x because you get more optical zoom and therefore you're able to hit your enemies easier. Then you want the Field Agent Grip to minimize the recoil, and 45 round drum to get as much ammo as you can without it being detrimental to your ADS. So this is the best class setup. You could put the default reticle. If you like the precision or the clean living, you can, but as a preference, I like the default. I think it's super clean. And moving to the FAMAS, FMAS, FFAR, we got the Agency Suppressor because of its pros, and look at its little cons. ADS is negligible. You could ignore it because it's not gonna be that harmful. Regarding looking at those pros, it heavily outweighs with that sound suppression, vertical recoil control, bullet velocity, and effective damage range. It's a no-brainer. Task Force, because it actually does your bullet velocity and it also helps with your strafe and effective damage range. Now, strafe speed is newer to Warzone because on Modern Warfare weapons it doesn't show it really that often, but strafe speed makes it harder for your opponents to hit you, so therefore you really want it. Although it hurts your vertical and horizontal, you're using the FMOS as an SMG, not really an AR hybrid, and if you are, there's a different class setup, and when you're using it as an SMG, you could ignore the recoil because it's still going to be easy point blank. Then you want the Raider stock for the sprint to fire time, ADS firing movement speed, and ADS aim locking movement speed. That hip fire accuracy, it's fine. Even at point blank, you could still hit your shots, and I would probably ADS more than anything. Snag 50 round because you want as much ammo. We would use the salvo before the reloaded, but because of the reloaded, it is extremely detrimental to your reload speed, ADS I meant, and so therefore you should never use it. You should use the snag from now on really all Cold War weapons. Then the Serpent Wrap for that ADS. The Airborne Elastic Wrap does the opposite for ADS, so you don't want to do that. And the other ones don't really help as much as the Serpent Wrap. And the Serpent Wrap only has one con of sprint to fire time, but that's countered by the Raider stock, which heavily outweighs it. So we would run EOD, Overkill, Amped, pretty obvious. Semtex, you can use Thermite if you want, or C4, but as a preference, I would like the Semtex. And Heartbeat Sensor because people run the stuns, but I'm not really that type of person. I rather learn the location of where my enemies are. Most people do not have Ghost most of the time, and my Ghost loadout, I would then choose between stuns or Heartbeat Sensor. But at the beginning, I would pick up this loadout, and yeah, this thing would slay. Next is the M16. FAMAS. So with the M16, basically same setup from the AUG, Agency Silencer, Strike Team, Field Agent, 45 round, and Axial Arms 3 for the same reasons as the AUG. You could use a default or you could use the clean living or precision, but I use the default. I find it the best. Then same exact perks, lethal and tactical. Then the AMAX and MAC. I like the AMAX. I love it, in fact. And the class setup is the monolithic suppressor because, come on, it's the OG. Everyone uses it. You don't even need to explain. It gives you sound suppression and damage range. For those small cons, it's definitely worth it. The XRK Zodiac because you want as much damage range, bullet velocity, and recoil control. These helps with ADS, movement speed. Like, you're not going to use it in Warzone. If you're going to run with a weapon, you're going to run with your SMG or your second weapon. So therefore, you would always run XRK Zodiac for that damage range, bullet velocity, and recoil control. Then you want the VLK because that actually helps with your the zoom level with the 3x, and also helps with recoil control. So if you want less recoil, because uh, you need it, because this thing hits like a truck, but it also has some recoil, so you definitely want to minimize it as much as you can. Commando foregrip. Now you can use the Ranger foregrip because you get more recoil control, but I prefer the Commando because it doesn't hurt your ADS, so I'll be able to aim in faster and shoot these people and kill them. Although you get less of recoil control, it's worth it, in my opinion. You just need to learn the pattern, and then it's not that hard with controlling the recoil. 45 round mags to maximize the ammo. This, I don't think anybody wants semi-auto, let's be honest. Mac 10, agency suppressor for the pros compared to its cons. Come on. Task force because it actually helps with your strike speed, bullet velocity, and damage range. The rest don't really do anything. This helps with bullet velocity and everything, damage range and strike speed. The horizontal and vertical, you're using this as an SMG, so again, it's not that important, and it gets countered by the field agent grip as well. This is the NAG 53 round drum because this thing is extremely detrimental to your ADS, so you want to minimize it and use the Snag for the most ammo while not the worst ADS. Raider stock for that sprint to fire time, ADS firing movement speed, and ADS movement speed. ADS walking movement speed. You can use the combat or no stock, but I prefer all of these pros compared to this one pro, and these, it doesn't help with your sprint to fire. Then same perks in lethal and tactical. And if I want to snipe, I'm going to use the FBOSS. Now the thing with this, it's going to be an AR hybrid as well, so I definitely want to change it around. I still keep the agency suppressor and Raider stock and Snag 50 round, but I use the reinforced heavy because I don't want to hurt my recoil control, because I'm using this at farther ranges because I have a sniper which will be used at even further ranges, so I want this thing to have the effective damage range and bullet velocity. These two cons are negligible. You don't need to care about them. They're so minuscule. Field agent grip to reduce the recoil even further, so it could handle more further ranges where you will be able to beam people. Then same perks, lethal and tactical. Then I run the AUG and Mac 10, same class setups from before, pretty self-explanatory. Then I run the same perks, lethal and tactical. Then for my 6th loadout, I run something more throwback. You can run whatever you want that you like, whether it's like the Bruin, like the MP7 or something. This is more of like a fun loadout, more niche trolling. Not trolling, but just want to have some fun. Take it back, put some nostalgia. So I love the Ram. It's one of my favorite weapons, super satisfying with the Bruin. Monolithic suppressor for that sound suppression and damage range. FSS Ranger for that damage range, bullet velocity, and recoil control. This one it does your damage range and bullet velocity, but you also want that recoil control because this thing does have a weird pattern, as it's conspicuous, where it has a different recoil pattern than other weapons. So you want to be able to control it as much as you can. You don't need to worry about this because, again, you're running your secondary to run with you. Be okay to reduce that recoil as well as bring in that 3x zoom. You can use the T-pose vertical for reticle for the AMAX hand ram, but I do not have it unlocked, unfortunately. I do need to grind for it. Commando foregrip for that recoil stabilization and aiming stability. Its recoil is not that heavy, it just has a weird pattern, so you do not need to run the Ranger. 50 round mags for the most ammo. Then I run the MP5. Now this one it's very versatile, where the attachments you could run any, like not any, but a lot. You can run the mono suppressor, but I rather run this, that getting like an extra attachment, so I have a more space. I run the sound suppression and bullet velocity. Gives you that bullet velocity while giving you that sound suppression. It's ADS, it's fine. It's a SMG. It has fast ADS naturally, so this wouldn't hurt it because inherently the MP5 will always have a fast ADS. Also use the FDAC collapsible, which helps with it. Recoil control and aiming stability. Again, it's a SMG. You're gonna use it more point blank, so you don't need to care about aiming stability or recoil control. It also gives that movement speed and ADS, so you could be able to move faster and kill people faster. Merc foregrip for that hip fire accuracy as well as recoil control. This is the only foregrip you should be using on modern warfare weapons, SMGs specifically. 45 round mags for the most ammo. And simple grip tape because I want to maximize the ADS and sprint to fire. Aiming stability, you can ignore it because, again, this is a SMG. If you want to run the sleight of hand or the 5mm laser, feel free to, but I prefer running the stippled. If you are, replace it with the stippled because the rest are pretty much mandatory. You can maybe change the collapsible, but for the most part, I would only change stippled grip tape to your preference. Same perks in lethal and tactical. Now, this is my restock where I run when I run restock for like Rebirth Island and specifically Rebirth Island, or if I want as much stuns and semtexes, because it restocks your lethal and tactical. So on my Warzone M4A1, I run the mono suppressor for that sound suppression damage range and that hidden bullet velocity actually. Stock M16 Grenadier barrel for that max damage range, bullet velocity, and recoil control you can. People run the Corvus, but the Grenadier gives you more damage range, bullet velocity, and recoil control. Although this gives you less ADS con and movement speed con, you want as much damage range, bullet velocity, and recoil control on your M4. But even then, I would probably run the restock as my second loadout, so I would probably take out the M4 once I get it for my AUG, M16, or AMAX. So, just in case, if I don't have time or if I have to run this, this is the best suited. You want to run the Commando for that recoil stabilization and aiming stability, 60 round mags, as much ammo as you can, and stippled grip tape because I want that fast ADS and sprint to fire. If you want to run a stock like no stock, you can, but since this is an AR, I don't really want to hurt my aiming stability or my recoil control. And if you want to run attack laser, I just don't find it clean when running attack laser on the M4 in Warzone, so I don't like to use that. I'd rather use stippled grip tape. Now secondary, I use the Diamatti, where I have the agency suppressor for that sound suppression, vertical recoil control, bullet velocity, and effective damage range. The cons are very minimal. And task force because I want that effective damage range, bullet velocity, and strike speed. You can't change that out for anything. I haven't really made a full class setup for this, but I think this is the best. SOF target designator for that effective damage range and hipfire accuracy. I want as much as I can because up close I want my hipfire accuracy to be more. I want to be more accurate, while simultaneously I want to shoot people farther and have that effective damage still. It's con. It doesn't matter. I don't really care about flashlight being visible. It's the NAG 30 because I want as much ammo. Since I'm not running a Kimbo, I don't want to hurt my ADS too much, so I'm not going to run Salvo. Serpent Wrap for that faster ADS as well. If you're wondering why there's this anime girl, I don't know why. It's pretty broken. It's in a separate bundle, but apparently it merged with the Battle Pass variant, so hey, I'll take it for free, I guess. I can't really take it out, so it's there to stick. EOD, restocked and amped, Semtex, and stun because I don't want to run heartbeat sensor because I want everything to restock so I have infinite amount, so I have like as much stuns and Semtexes as time goes by. So for my ghosts, I have 2 ghosts. These are like my main. Maybe if I drop in and I get somebody else's loot, like a dead enemy or one of my teammates, and I want to run it, I get one of the weapons, but I also want my own weapon or just want the ghost. I'm going to take one of these 2. If I'm in an emergency where I'm like a solo, playing solos, or I'm in like low and I need to get a ghost with ammo, I need to get ammo ASAP, this is the way to go. But when we look at my M16, you can run the AUG instead, but I like to run the M16 to switch it up. I also find it cleaner. So yeah, we go to the setup. I actually haven't changed this, and I will. Agency silencer, you want to use a strike team. You want to use the Axial Arms 3X. Take out grip tapes, they're unnecessary. 45 round to maximize the ammo without hurting your ADS. And you want to run the field agent grip to reduce as much recoil as possible. Then I have the same class setup for my Diamatti. EOD Ghost, because Ghost is OP, amped, Semtex, and stun. So this would be my second, if I'm getting my second loadout or I see other people's loot, custom loadouts, so I just want that Ghost perk. This is the way to go if like I find an FFAR. Now if I find like an AUG instead, I want to run a FFAR to make it a cohesive loadout. So therefore I would run this loadout, which is from before: Agency Suppressor, Task Force Barrel, Snag 50 rounds, Serpent Wrap, and Raider Stock. Same Diamante class setup, EOD, Ghost, and Semtex and Stun. Now, the reason why I run stuns on these two Ghost loadouts is because I want to be able to choose if I want to run stuns or run a heartbeat. If my teammates already have heartbeats, it's redundant for me to run heartbeat, and I'd rather use stuns at this scenario. But if my teammates aren't, I also have the option to also choose the heartbeat from my prior loadouts. Then for my emergency, to get that max ammo to grow, because it's the easiest to use, although I don't really find the liking anymore because of its damage profiles. It's the easiest weapon to use in my opinion, and I think it's for many other people. So I would run the mono suppressor, Archangel barrel for that damage range, bullet velocity, and recoil control. The rest don't really help. Commando foregrip to reduce that recoil without hurting my ADS. 60 round mags for that max ammo, and fully loaded for that for max AR ammo. Then I would run the Renetti mono suppressor, MK3 burst mod to make it as automatic as possibly can. Lightweight trigger for the same reason. Make the fire rate basically the same, basically automatic. 27 round max ammo, fully loaded, so that I have the max light ammo. So if I get like a Mac 10, I would have max ammo for that. And EOD, Ghost, and Semtex and stuns. That wraps it all up. That's my 10 setups. If you have your own, if you want to change your RAM movie 5, please do so to your liking. If you want to run like a Stoner and Mac, go ahead, or the Bruin, or any of other weapons like the M13. Feel free to. Kilo or any others. Go ahead, as this is nostalgia, but these 5 are pretty much mandatory, as these are the hardcore meta. And I run a restock for specifically Rebirth because I find it more enjoyable than Verdansk. But currently, as Activision decided to take off Rebirth, they have Verdansk. I'm probably not going to run this loadout anytime soon until they put Rebirth quads or trios back. My 2 Ghost setups. If you want to take out one for free slot, go ahead, but I don't really recommend it. And I would recommend also having the emergency. So yeah, that's my 10 loadouts, and I hope you guys enjoy. Have a great rest of your day.